Joining us today to help us dissect these numbers, we have Professor Emmanuel Leyco, Chief Economist of Credit Rating Investor Services Philippines and Senior Fellow at the Center for People Empowerment in Governance. Magandang umaga. Welcome back to Morning Matters.
Thank you for having me back. Magandang umaga, Gretchen.
Several figures here, no? Let's begin with the unemployment rate. It was 5% in October from 3.8% in September. That means 2.54 million Filipinos are jobless as we head on to Christmas. What do you think could be contributors to that unemployment rate? Is that a temporary dip amid the flood control probe? Is it something that we should worry about given global trends? What are you seeing here?
I hope it's just a temporary dip. However, it looks like based on recent observations and recent forecasts from different sources, the Philippines is now being left behind. While ADB projected or upgraded its projections for the rest of our neighbors, Philippines was left behind. So I think this is something that should be taken very seriously by our economic managers in particular and by the whole Philippine government in general.
You're probably referring to the report that was released, I think yesterday, na hindi po sinama yung Pilipinas dun sa parang Asian report, ano? But what does that mean? How serious is that for us to be left behind by the ADB?
Very serious, because when ADB makes a statement, the whole world, global investors, global watchers are listening. Remember, during the time of the tariff declarations of U.S. President Trump, ADB also issued an outlook that did not look very good. And now they're saying that it looks like we are now seeing certain trade policy trends from the U.S. and therefore uncertainties during the initial months of Trump are now being clarified. So that's okay. But in the Philippines, everybody among our neighbors were upgraded, but the Philippines was left behind. That is serious. So with our GDP dipping 4% last month, that is way below the projected GDP that the government already issued. And in fact, the projections for this year was already a downgraded projection. Remember, we were expecting that after the pandemic, we will look at least 7% GDP growth rate. But now, the government said, no, we'll only expect about 5.5, 6%, and now dipping to 5%. That's a big loss.
You're referring to the ADB upgrades on Asia and Pacific's growth outlook. Us being left behind from this report, does that mean that we have diverging numbers? Parang kumaga naiiba, kaya di tayo sinama dito, iba yung trends na nakikita sa Pilipinas. And do you attribute that to the flood control scandal and everything that's been unfolding lately?
Yes, it's quite obvious. The rest of our neighbors got an upgraded outlook, except for the Philippines. And the only major thing that's happening in the Philippines is the flood control controversy. And talking about billions, even trillions in losses. So unless the government is able to put this to rest decisively, conclusively, and with certain benefits to the Filipino people, I don't think this will go away. So it will continue. It will continue to haunt the Philippines, both the consumers and investors. Remember, it looks like when the GDP is declining, even investors are holding back. In terms of their annual projections, their spending, their capital expenditures, we will see a dip next year. And last month, when we looked at the consumer spending, they also declined. So what does that mean? Everybody is sandbagging. Everybody is anticipating that the wars will come before it gets better.
Do you think that lowering interest rates could somehow boost consumer spending, trigger the economy?
Well, it could stimulate in a way. However, we also have to take a look at what the U.S. is doing with its interest rate. They're also expected to bring down their interest rate. So once the interest rate in the U.S. goes down and the Philippines go down, it's going to be a matter of choice for investors. Where do you invest? In a dollar asset or a Philippine asset? Remember, the peso is also declining in value. We're yesterday we hit 59. Once the Philippine peso to dollar exchange rate hits 60, that is going to be very, very, very troublesome for the Philippine economy.
And what do you think's been causing the weakening of the peso? Is it also linked to this flood control scandal?
Yes, it looks like everything now is linked to the Philippine corruption scandal. Confidence of investors in the Philippines has weakened tremendously. So in the past few months, the Philippine peso has become a target, and also when the Philippine debt starts hitting us, well, it actually had already hit us. Remember, the threshold used to be like 60% of the GDP was the threshold for Philippine debt. Now, they increased it to more than 60%. We are now at about 62, 63%. We cannot just declare that the threshold has been increased and people will not react. People are reacting. Can the Philippine economy really handle that kind of debt, that much debt? That's a heavy burden on the Philippines. Remember, the debt service almost hit 2 trillion. We have a budget of about 6 trillion to increase to about 6.7 trillion. When 2 trillion goes to debt service, that's a big loss to the Philippine economy at this time. The debt service is paying for financing that we used to fund projects from before. It is not financing development today and the next few years. So that is going to be a big headache for our Philippine economic managers.
And yet we are getting more loans. ADB has said they will release $400 million policy-based loans to support government reforms to improve ease of doing business. That's added to the 17.56 trillion debt that we already have. Is this a positive development, knowing mas mababa pong interest na binibigay sa atin, and possibly it could address ito pong mga investor-related concerns on red tape?
ADB is a lending institution. The role of the development bank is to finance future development for the country. It's not bad to borrow. Let me be very, very clear about that. As long as the borrowing goes to productive uses. However, in the Philippines, with trillions of money being reported stolen, that is a big loss. That is a leakage in the Philippine economy. So it is like, you borrow 400 million, and then in the midst of this investigation, this sounds like putting good money after bad. So that's terrible. That has to stop. I think before we inject more money into projects being implemented by the government, I think we really have to straighten out what's going on. We need to address this. We need to put people responsible for the losses in the Philippine coffers to be prosecuted, to be judged accordingly, and restore the funds that were stolen from the Philippine coffers.
In short, a robust judicial system would do the trick and not more loans. Tama po ba ang pagkakabasa ko? Because why put more money behind anti-red tape measures when isn't it the problem on implementation? Pero nakasulat po dito that they will be focusing on providing online investors guidebooks and the digital database of business regulations that could improve investor experience. Do you think, and how much could that help? In some ways, medyo magkakaroon ng clarity, but gaano kaya ka-impactful? At ano po ang reforms na nakikita nyo dapat pagtuunan ng pansin?
Okay. Gretchen, we already have the ARTA. We have the anti-red tape law.
Authority.
We even have an
Yeah.
red tape agency.
Yeah.
We have multiple agencies, institutions that are trying to educate investors. If this is purely for information dissemination, I think this is not going to make a dent in the investment climate. What is going on right now is that red tape translates to corruption. Everybody, from the barangay level to the highest level, gets cut. Whenever somebody makes an investment, you need to have barangay clearance all the way up to the highest agency in the country. So I think it's not just information. It's not just a reform in a very limited way. I think that this is the way of governance. How do we govern? Do we govern by creating more agencies, more rules and regulations, institutions, reports? Everybody, including the BIR, is also being exposed now that even the letters of what is this, the LOA is being used to extort money from a business. That's terrible. I think the climate of corruption is now the major problem in the country unless something happens. And also, I am glad that we are now hearing that the president has listed as a priority the political dynasty bills. However, I've been hearing about people that's going to be a major reform. However, the definition of dynasty might be the culprit. They might say, okay, brothers and sisters maybe not be included, but then cousins and so forth, to what degree? That's going to be another, perhaps, I hope it does not take a decade just to discuss.
A long debate and discussion. Oo.
Exactly. Actually, if the president wants to see reforms happen during his term, he could have certified that as urgent, so that the bills will move faster, swiftly, and get better support from the legislators.
Because for now, it is just a directive from the president to prioritize these bills, which raises questions in itself, no, kung ano nga bang kapangyarihan ng Pangulo to direct the legislative branch, no, if it's not to actually officially certify these bills as urgent to bypass certain processes para mas mapabilis yung pagpapapasa ng mga yan. But you're right, no, it's a whole another debate to talk about political dynasties and how will that law turn out if it does get through Congress, if it will be lukewarm or it will actually make a difference in the way the system goes. And we'll have that discussion later with Attorney Africa. But for this one, I want to go to the actual effects on the ground, no? Kasi we're talking about the macro economics, but I want to go back to the unemployment rate, the 5% unemployment rate. Ano po yung nakikita niyong maaaring mag-impluwensya dyan? Because in the United States, no, alam ko malaking problema ho yan na hindi po makakuha ng trabaho ang mga bagong graduates because also of artificial intelligence, because iba na yung hinahanap sa workplace. Companies are streamlining, trimming their workforce. Do you see that happening in the Philippines? O medyo malayo-layo pa tayo doon and this is really just because of the economic slowdown?
It's actually happening now, Gretchen.
Oo.
Many of our new graduates couldn't find jobs or meaningful jobs. Many of them are only able to take menial jobs that pay just the minimum or barely the, and the numbers are also declining. So I think we can expect that this year, ang Disyembre natin, ang Pasko natin sa susunod na mga ilang araw ay magiging tuyo. At ito lang ang ating mapapagsaluhan pagdating ng Kapaskuhan.
500 pesos lang.
You know, I was looking at the receipt, yung resibo na kumakalat. It actually happened on December 24, 1993. No, yung resibo. Yung resibo did not reflect value-added tax. And remember, sino ba yung author ng value-added tax, yung expanded value-added tax? No, I think that will remind us of what happened and also give us a clue on what's happening now. Malayong-malayo ang 500 pesos. Nobody, and I challenge the DTI secretary na mamalengke. Siguro sasabayan natin si secretary. May 500 pesos kami. Ano ang mabibili natin sa 500 pesos para pagsaluhan ng ating mga pamilya?
May pang Noche Buena naman daw. Hindi naman daw tinatanong kung anong lalamanin. Pero kung kaya mag-provide ng Noche Buena, yun naman ang sabi ng gobyerno. But, kidding
wait
aside,
a second,
no?
no? Alam mo, that is the problem with our government officials, no? Parang ini-insulto pa ang mga mamamayan. You know, dapat mamuno ang ating pamahalaan at magbigay ng tamang direksyon. Ano ba ang ating problema at ano ang dapat nating gawin sa mga susunod na araw natin. Ngayon po.
And those directives, clear directives, are needed. But in terms of short-term solutions for government, what can they do to arrest this slowdown and hopefully give us at least a steady climb in 2026? We do know it will take time to hold the people accountable, to bring justice to what's already been unfolded. But ano po ang pwedeng gawin ng gobyerno rito to be able to inject and stimulate the economy for the coming months?
You know, it's very difficult to escape the major problem. The level of confidence, yung kumpiyansa ay nawala o humina. Napakahina ngayon. Pero may solusyon naman ang presidente. Sinabi niya, by December 15 ay meron na tayong makikita na makukulong. Ngayon, everybody is watching, everybody is anticipating sino kaya ang makukulong. Kung ang mga makukulong naman ay yung mga maliliit na mga tao sa ahensya, mga kontraktor, kailangan po may makita tayo na makulong na mastermind ng corruption na ito, no? At siguro yun lang ang magkakapagbigay ng pag-asa. If the president, if the government is able to put to justice a major player in the corruption anomaly, I think the people will start thinking next year siguro mas marami pa. Pero this time, wag naman yung mga maliliit at saka mga contractor lang. Kailangan makakita tayo ng mastermind, you know, yung kanilang pinaka-boss. Sino ba ang nagtuturo, sino ba ang nagmamando sa mga taong ito para mangurakot sa ating bayan?
Medyo matatagalan pa po yata yan. So magtitiis-tiis na naman po ang sambayan ng Pilipino. Any bright spots that you're seeing? Where can people invest, put their money on while all of this is going on?
Well, definitely. Dahil kahit na 500 lang ang panggastos, people will spend money. So I think in the short term, many of our caterers, food producers, yung mga party planners are going to make money during this period. So palagay ko yan ang pinaka short term for now.
Baka yung mga OFW remittances makatulong din sa strengthening of the peso. Okay, maraming salamat po for joining us today. We hope that wasn't too gloomy of an analysis from Professor Emmanuel Leyco, Chief Economist of CRISP and Senior Fellow at Sandpeg. Thank you very much for your time.